hear Goldilocks' side of the case.
Your Honor, as my first witness, I call Goldilocks. What is your name?
My name is Goldenlocks. I'm also called Goldilocks. When I was born, my mother said I had golden locks, and so from that day forward, I've been known as Goldilocks.
I see. You have very pretty gold locks.
Thank you.
Where do you live?
I live with my mother Locks, my father Locks, my little baby brother Locks, my kitty cat Spook Locks, and Funny Locks at Waverly, Iowa. Oh yes, I also live with my dog Melissa Locks. Melissa needs a haircut right now.
Oh, that's very interesting. And is your house located anywhere near the house of Baby Bear?
Oh yes, Baby Bear and I see each other quite often while walking in the forest. I like to walk through the forest to pick flowers. I also like to watch the bunny rabbits and deer in the forest. Baby Bear and I also attend the same preschool. That is Waverly Preschool. My mommy takes me every day in the station wagon to preschool. Sometimes I take some flowers which I've picked in the forest with me.
And are your teachers also Mrs. Graven and Mrs. Cooper?
Yes, they are. We play games and play in the toy kitchen and sing and have a snack.
And I'm sure your teachers, along with your mother and father, have told you never to go into a strange house.
Yes, they have, but sometimes I forget, especially when the porch smells so good.
Now, Goldie, on the day in question, were you out walking in the forest?
Yes, I was. I was picking flowers in the forest early one fall morning. I like to go out early in the morning because that's when I see the most bunny rabbits, and sometimes I even see a deer.
And as you were walking in the forest, what did you smell?
I smelled the most yummy porridge coming from the house in the forest. I followed my nose until I came to a little brown house, which had the name Bear on the front. I knocked on the door, but I didn't see anyone home. The smell was so good, and I hadn't had anything for breakfast that morning since Mommy doesn't fix breakfast until I get back from my morning walk. In fact, sometimes she even goes with me.
I see. And then what did you do?
I knocked on the door several times, but no one answered. As the door was opened, I figured that the people who lived in the house must be close by.
Did you enter the house?
Yes, I did, but the door was wide open, so I followed my nose right to the kitchen, and there I saw the 3 bowls of porridge.
When you saw the 3 bowls of porridge, what did you say?
I said, "Oh, my porridge!"
Then what did you do?
I tasted some porridge from Papa Bear's great big bowl, but it was really hot. Then I tasted some porridge from Mom A Bear's medium-sized bowl, but it was too cold. Then I tasted some porridge from Baby Bear's bowl. It was just right, and I was so hungry, I ate it all up.
Were the bears in the house while you were eating the porridge?
No, but I figured they must be nearby. I guess I got so excited eating the porridge that I forgot about the bears.
Then what did you do?
Well, my tummy was so full of yummy porridge that I went into the living room to thank the person who made the porridge and to tell them how good the porridge was. My mother said I should always say thank you when someone does something nice for me.
Did you find anybody?
No, I didn't. So I decided to sit down in a chair to wait for the person to come home so I could tell them how good the porridge was. I wanted them to give me the recipe so I could give it to my mommy. My mommy makes good porridge, but it doesn't taste quite as good as the porridge I had at the bear's house. I think it's the palfos of raisins that make it taste so good.
Did you sit down?
Yes. In fact, I sat in a great big chair, but it was too hard and too big. I felt uncomfortable in it. Then it looked like a papa's chair. My daddy has one like it at home. Then I sat in a smaller chair, but it was too soft. It was kind of like the chair my mommy sits at home. Then I sat down in a little chair, which seemed to be just right.
What happened when you sat in the chair?
Well, it broke. But I think the chair was already broken when I sat in it, and that it was just sitting there as a decoration. As little as I weigh, I'm sure my weight wouldn't have broken it if it had already been broken. I was really sad when I saw the broken chair.
Then, what did you do?
I was so sad when I saw the broken chair that I decided to go upstairs to wait for the bears to come home so I could tell them again. I went into a room that was decorated a lot like my room at home, and I sat down on a bed to wait for the bears to come home. I think I was crying a little bit, too, about breaking the chair. Well, the bears didn't come home right away, so I must have closed my eyes to wait for them. I fell asleep on Baby Bear's bed. The next thing I remember before I fell asleep on Baby Bear's bed was that I also tried Papa Bear's bed and Mom Bear's bed, but they were too hard. I guess I messed their beds up a little bit, too. Although Papa Bear's bed had not been made very well, it looked like he did it himself.
What do you remember next?
The next thing I remember was there were 3 bears standing around me. Papa Bear looked very, very mad, and he said, "Somebody's been sleeping in my bed." Then I heard Mama Bear say, "Somebody's been sleeping in my bed." I was so frightened, I got up and ran right out the door to my mother.
Goldilocks, as I recall your testimony, you ate the porridge because it smelled so good and you were hungry. You did not knock the door down, but walked in the door simply thinking the people would not care. The chair was broken when you sat down to wait for the maker of the porridge to tell her how good the porridge was, and you accidentally fell asleep on the bed.
That's right.
You didn't mean to harm anybody, did you?
Of course not. It looked like such a friendly house, and I knew that baby bear lived there. I see her at preschool many times. She even told me that sometime I should come over to her house and have some porridge with her because her mother made it so good. I really didn't mean to harm anything, and I'm really sorry about the chair, but I still don't think I broke it.
Thank you, Goldilocks. That's all my questions. Next, I will call Mr. Locks to the stand. What is your name?
My name is Kurt E. Locks.
Where do you live, Mr. Locks?
We live at Golden Locks Lane.
And are you the father of Goldilocks?
Yes, I am. She is my daughter.
What kind of little girl is Goldilocks?
Goldie essentially is a good little girl. She is mischievous like most little girls, but she always tries to do the right thing. Sometimes she forgets. I do have one trouble with her, and that is she likes to wander through the forest picking flowers. She tells me that she likes to go look at the bunny rabbits than deer. Most of the time I go with her, but on the morning in question, I was getting ready for a bridge club meeting.
You say Goldie is essentially a good girl. Does she say please?
Most of the time.
And does she say thank you?
Oh, I have taught her to say thank you, and her teachers at school have taught her to say thank you. And she says thank you most of the time when she remembers. But like most little girls, sometimes she forgets.
And does she help you with the dishes?
Well, most of the time, but it's sometimes, especially when the Muppets are on television. She runs downstairs and watches the television and forgets to help me with the dishes. But I understand, especially when the Muppets are on television. That's her favorite show.
Does she attend preschool?
Oh yes, she goes to Waverly Preschool every day. She enjoys the music and swinging on the swings and the art classes and all the activities. She's really excited about her preschool.
Well, this trial is about Goldie having bad manners. Do you think she has bad manners?
Oh, goodness, no. She does forget occasionally, like most little girls do, but I know she tries to use good manners. I think the only reason she went into the bear's house was simply because the porridge smelled so good. And after she ate the porridge, she wanted to stay there until the bears returned to tell them how good the porridge was. She certainly didn't intend any harm, and I know that she didn't mean to break the chair. But Goldie has told me that the chair was already broken when she sat in it. You know, she's not very big, and I don't think she could break the chair.
Where is Mrs. Locks today?
Oh, she wanted to be here, but she had a very important meeting. She's a lawyer, you know, and lawyers are always going to very important meetings. At least that's what she always tells me. I'm sure she would say the same thing about Goldilocks if she were here.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Locks?
Well, we're sorry that the bears are inconvenienced, but if they would like to come to our house for breakfast, I would be glad to fix. Mrs. Locks would be glad to fix them some of her porridge. Maybe Mrs. Bear could even show her how to make it so yummy.
Thank you, Mr. Locks. You may step down.
Are there any summaries?
Your Honor, we have shown that Goldilocks, without being invited, walked into a bear's home, ate Baby Bear's porridge, broke Baby Bear's chairs, and slept in her bed. She did all of this without being invited, and I clearly think that meets the test of bad manners. Even though Goldilocks knows better, that is no excuse. I'm sure the jury agrees that one who displays good manners does not do such things. Your Honor, we have shown that Goldilocks is the basic all a good little girl. She has said that she meant no harm in going into the house, and the door was open. The porridge was so good that she could not resist it, and after she ate the porridge, she merely wanted to wait for the bears to come home to thank them. She didn't mean to break Baby Bear's chair, and there's no real evidence she broke it. I think the chair was already broken when she sat in it. She certainly is not big enough to have broken the chair. She is sorry she had fallen asleep on the bed, but she was merely waiting for the bears to come home so she could thank them and to ask them how they make the porridge so yummy. She certainly did not display any bad manners, and in fact showed good manners by waiting to thank the bears.
Thank you. Does that conclude your evidence?
Yes, it does.
Now we ask that you, our audience, be the jury. Please consider all of the evidence laid before you today. If you believe Goldilocks is guilty of bad manners, please raise your hand.